Hello and welcome back to English B2C. I'm so glad you're here today. In this podcast, you'll hear one story told 4 times: B1, B2, C1, and finally C2. This way, you can listen step by step, compare, and grow your English naturally. Today's theme is something every learner knows: the fear of speaking English with a native speaker. Let's begin. I used to feel afraid when I spoke English with a native speaker. I thought my English was not good enough, and I worried that maybe they would not understand me. One day, I met a tourist in my city. He asked me for directions. My heart was beating fast, but I tried to answer. I said, "Go straight, then turn left." The tourist smiled and said, "Thank you." In that moment, I felt so happy. I saw that I could speak and people could understand me. That gave me more confidence. That was the story in simple English. Now let's move on to B2, where we'll add more detail and a little reflection. For a long time, I felt nervous about speaking English with native speakers. I often believed my grammar was too weak and my accent sounded strange. I also thought that I wouldn't be able to follow them because native speakers talk so fast. Then one afternoon, while I was walking through the city, a tourist stopped me and asked for directions. My heart started to race, and for a moment, I thought about escaping the situation. But instead, I took a deep breath and answered, "Go straight and then turn left at the next corner." The tourist gave me a smile, said thank you, and walked away. That simple moment taught me something important. Native speakers don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to communicate. And once I understood that, I started to feel less afraid. Great work making it this far. Let's go one level higher. At C1, the story becomes richer, with more description and deeper analysis. For many years, I carried a heavy fear of speaking English with native speakers. I imagined they would notice every single mistake I made, or that they would quickly lose patience with my slow responses. The speed of their speech intimidated me so much that I often avoided conversations altogether. But then, one day, a small event changed my perspective. While I was walking downtown, a tourist approached me and politely asked for directions. Immediately, my heart started to pound, and for a second, I considered pretending not to understand. But instead, I gathered my courage and said, "Go straight ahead and then turn left at the corner." The tourist smiled warmly, thanked me, and continued on his way. It was such a brief exchange, yet it opened my eyes. I realized that communication is not about flawless grammar or perfect pronunciation. It's about making a connection. And most native speakers actually appreciate the effort, even when the English is simple. Since then, I've tried to view every conversation not as a test to pass or fail, but as an opportunity to practice and grow. Well done. Now let's step into the final stage. This is the C2 version, the most advanced, natural, and fluent retelling. Here, the story will sound much closer to native English, with nuance and reflection. For the longest time, I treated conversations with native speakers as if they were dangerous ground. I felt exposed, as though every mistake in grammar, every hesitation, every trace of my accent would betray me. In my mind, speaking English with a native was less a conversation and more a judgment. But life often teaches us through small, ordinary moments. One day, as I was walking through the busy streets of my city, a tourist stopped me to ask for directions. The old fear returned instantly. My chest tightened, my thoughts scattered. Yet instead of running from the moment, I answered. The words were simple, even plain. Go straight, then turn left. The tourist smiled, said thank you, and disappeared into the crowd. And yet, that tiny exchange felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. I realized then that communication is not a flawless performance to be judged, but a bridge between two human beings. Native speakers are not examiners with red pens in their hands. They are people, often grateful that you're trying to connect. In that moment, I understood that fear is only a shadow. And once you dare to speak, the shadow fades away. Your voice, even with its imperfections, is enough. And that's the end of today's story. You've just heard it at 4 levels: B1, B2, C1, and C2. Did you notice how the language grew richer each time? Remember, focus on connection, not perfection. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on English B2C.